and then get the... Something ain't right. And I don't know what it is. This video might come out a little later because there is a bit of a mess over here. And this is the jumbuck that I took the rear window panel out and the base from. I spent the last couple of days messing around with this, stripping everything that is useful out of it, and it's sitting back there on the other jumbuck or over there. They're just about to pick this bad boy up and it's just going to scrap metal, so everyone say thanks jumbuck. For anyone who doesn't quite get it, this panel here and here is now here and here. Howdy, my name's Workshop Lewis and this is my E30 M3 Ute. In one of the previous episodes we attached this rear quarter panel, got the fuel filler neck sorted, which was a bit of a drama in itself. And in this episode we're going to try and get the fuel tank in. There's going to be a bunch of other things that we do, but I'll talk about them when we get to them. Let's just have a look at the fuel tank that we've got and work out what we need to do to fix it. I've already given it a pretty good clean just to get some of the gunk off of it, and it doesn't look too bad. I do have a blockage in this hose here, which, if you know anything about these can be really expensive to replace. So if yours doesn't come off, don't break it. Otherwise you're up for a couple of $100. So we're going to need to fix that. Give it a good clean on the inside. We also have an issue with a little dent. So we'll see if we can get the fuel pump out, kind of panel beat this back to something nice, give it a good clean, sand, prime, and then I'm just going to spray it with some underbody just to give it a little bit more protection. I also have the added problem of, since I have a Ute, that's where the access panel is, and it's under a main frame that I've added to the car. It's not overly accessible, but it is kind of accessible. So before we really install this fuel tank, I need to make sure we've got a nice new pump in there, get all of the hoses and connections sorted out because we can't get to them. The first step is just taking everything off of it. I want to get rid of the plug, clean out the inside, and then we're going to scuff up the outside ready for primer. It's the fuel sender. I thought there was going to be a hanger in here, but that is just the fuel sender, which tells you fuel level. Oh, God damn you, phone. Give me a second. This, no good. I can't use it. It's too full of crud, and the issue is the second chamber only has one access port, and I can never know if it's all going to come out. Did a bunch of research. This is a 55 litre Series 1 tank. There is a 63 litre Series 2 tank that has two ports, level sender and pump, and instead of having the crossover pipe, it has an internal feed tube that keeps the levels correct. Both interchangeable, but it then changes the wiring loom. I don't think I have, well, no, the loom that I have definitely doesn't have the extra sender unit. And then on the cluster, you need to have the 60 litre gauge thing instead of the 55 litre, which it's one of those things, like, sure, 8 litres would be really good to have, but the extra cost and work, I just don't feel like is going to be, I don't think the juice is going to be worth the squeeze on this one, given that it's going to cost me like $800 for an extra 8 litres. And this car's never going to drive really long distances. If this is going from, say, here to Victoria, 8-hour drive, it's either going to be transported or on the back of a car trailer. So it would be good, but it's really not necessary. This thing is for the extended fuel tank. This is kind of like there's a pump in the extended tank. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, there's a pump in the extended tank that then pumps it up and then it just drains down. So I can't use that. The only thing we can use is the cross pipe, which is really good because these are like 280 bucks, which is crazy for a pipe and 2 nuts. But I'm going to put a new, probably aftermarket tank on. I can get a brand new, genuine one for like $1,000. I can get a brand new aftermarket one, Dorman brand, for about 600. And it seems like the reviews are pretty good. With all of this crud and time-wasting adventure, I can't do much else until I get the new tank. I've cleaned up this, so I've got to work out what I'm going to do next. And I think we're going to stick in the same kind of area on the car and start going on with the diff. So I'll take this off the table, get some diffs on the table, and then continue talking. Yay! Phone? No? We're good. Okay. I have diffs, and I've been collecting diffs for a little while. We have a small case. Originally, I thought I should put one in the car just to get the car like usable, but I don't need to do that anymore. Then I got a medium case. Figured I'd probably want to rebuild it. In this box, I've got 373 gears and an LSD. So the LSD will end up in one of these housings. 373 isn't the right gear ratio I want to go. Going to try and find a 6-speed out of an E36 and want a much lower, like 315, 293. Phone. 1 second. Okay, where was I? LSD Center is going to go into one of these two. These are the only 2 medium cases. This, I believe, is off an E28 5 Series. Still a medium case, different hat. Could use that hat, but we have a E36 323 dual hat. This hat will bolt onto here. The only thing that I need to do is make sure that I get the wheel speed sensor out of the internals and put that into here when I rebuild it. 5 Series drive shafts, a little bit beefier on the middle. I have heard that if you load up the standard axles for an E30, they can just snap. So we're going to go with these, and then the last thing we need to work out of these are which stub axles we're going to use. I think it's definitely not them. It kind of looks like them. I think that might work as well, which would be good, because that means we can just use housing. I didn't tell you the gear ratio on this one, or this one. This one is a 315, this one is a 293. Ideally, I'd prefer to use a 293. So, housing, gears, stub axles, hat, LSD, axles. And I might need to check the output shaft with the drive shaft. There's a lot to think about, and I've never taken a diff apart, but we will get there. In the first instance, because I'm converting to a dual mounting point, I think we want to strip this one, mark everything up as we strip it just to make sure, put that in a container, put it aside, do the same thing with this one, bolt this hat onto here, then work out how we're going to put the extra mounting points onto the chassis. Too much talking. We need more doing. Both oils look pretty good. I'll let them drain. We're going to take this one apart first. We just want the housing, and that's it for now. So then we can put the rear hat on, bolt it up to the subframe, and then get the... So if you know anything about E30s, you know this hat for a medium case is the most expensive part. Many BMWs use the medium case housing, but you need the rear hat for it to bolt up to the factory locations. I want a little box. So, by going with the E36 dual mount, I get the added benefit of a second mount, and I only paid 50 bucks for that whole diff. So it was way cheaper. I get the gear ratio, hopefully, I need to confirm that. I get the gear ratio and that rear hat, 50 bucks, couldn't really say no to it. All right. This is just a standard open diff, I think. Anyway, when you see a gear ratio of 2.93, 3.15, this helical gear and this gear in here, it is the ratio that they move together. So you can change the gear ratio on your diff by replacing that and that. I'm gonna package these up, try and put them somewhere nice and clean. I don't think I need anything out of this. This is a 315. Still gotta take that bit out and then take the hat off the other one, bolt it up, and then we can keep going on. I can't press pause because my fingers are... On the end, there is a nut with a retaining ring that you need to like hit a little bit to the side so you can undo the nut. Then this just comes off. Oh, no. And then you can knock the pinion out. So now we're going to take this one apart. Should all be pretty much the same. Oh, I need to get another small box for the bolt. I have everything apart. We've got the medium case housing, we have the rear hat, the 293 gears, the casing outers, which are paired with the case. We've got the stub axles from the E36, which fits. The wheel speed, what would this be called? I don't know, I'll look that up. Get onto that, Officer Lewis. The speed sensor pickup, and then the output flange. Yeah, cool. Happy? Sure. Oh, yes. Not working on the ground. So, we can see what we've got to do. Let me try and get this right. Oh, no, that's also a bad shot. Yeah, there we go. So this is the mount for the single. So I'll go get the diff bolted up to the rear subframe and then work out where it's sitting. Definitely couldn't do that one-handed before. So I think this is getting in the way, and I think I should probably go get a tool that will hold the diff in position so I'm not trying to do everything one-handed. Woo. My shoulders. The diff is bolted up. Maybe I should bolt up the one with the normal hat. I'll take the hat off because I don't know where it's supposed to sit as far as height goes, because there is a lot more flex in that than I thought there would be. Alrighty, so I've had to think about it. I need to make sure that this is in the correct position. To do that, I probably need to have the drive shaft bolted up. So bolt onto the guibo, bolt onto the chassis, bolt onto the front. I can't do that because there's no front on this. This is just a shell. But I do have a fully built medium case diff. I can put that one in with the rear hat for the E30, get a measurement on where things are in relationship to the chassis, then take the single mount hat off, put the double mount hat on, already have the drive shaft installed, have it all sitting, like when it's bolted up with the single mount, I can put that brace underneath so it doesn't move, and then put this on and I'll be able to tell exactly where it's supposed to be. So it all boils down to, I've got to put that medium case diff up. I probably need to get rid of the oil because I'm going to need to take the hat on and off and swap it over. But that means I can use that for the setup while this is still empty, because I'm still waiting for a bunch of diff related parts. That is sick. So this out, medium case in, all bolted up, drive shaft on, support the base, swap the hats, modify the car. You are just going to put that bolt through here.
Once it's up.
Once it's up.
Deal.
This is going to be difficult.
But hold that.
Get the jack. I don't think this is the same fucking...
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell.
Yep, do it up. Up.
Definitely see Ronnie tidy.
Yeah, okay, I can play around with it from there.
You happy?
Yeah.
Cool. Yell if you need.
Yeah, you'll hear me. 4 subframe bolts are in, and boy was that horrible. I commend anyone who's done that on the ground, because it was still horrible with all of the tools. We now have our jig diff in. I feel like that neighbor. I can't remember what his name was. So, now that the diff is in, I tried draining it before I put it in, wasn't able to do it. But now I can get more leverage on the drain plug to drain the oil out. Cool. Oh. Yay! There's not any oil in there. They must have drained it before they dropped it off. God damn it. Bit of an odd angle, this one. We've got the diff here, normal hat all set up. I need to get the drive shaft in. I'm then going to laser up the line of the engine and the gearbox down the diff. Make sure that it's all looking real straight. Then I can jack up underneath the diff and take the hat off, mount the new hat. Yep. I'll bring you in and I'll show you. It's not good. I'm certain when I show my engineer this, or we try and get, when we try to pass inspection, they've just like welded a washer and not even done it neatly. So I'll look into a new bearing, a new set of bearing. Guess who just realized they didn't have the microphone on? Workshop Lewis did. I took the panel out. I've got to remove the other one, but I'm going to do that one off camera. Now I have to redo the last scene of where I tell you the merch store is going to be up. All of the stuff is finally in. So we've got t-shirts with the design on the back. We're going to have t-shirts with just the design on the front. I've got big flags. I've got car air fresheners. I've got the normal t-shirts that I've been wearing like the entire time. But everything's on pre-order. From when this video goes up, we're going to have a 2-week pre-order. And then after that 2-week pre-order is finished, we're going to do, I'll send the order into all of the places. It's probably going to take 3 weeks for production, and then I've got to ship it out. So likely story is I'll get them out 6 weeks after this video goes out. Episode 32? 33? You didn't see it, but I just said a bunch of numbers, and I'll get Office Lewis to fix that up. So go and check out the store. I don't know how many of each size. I don't know how many I'm going to sell. I might sell 3, I might sell 300. I got no idea. But go check it out, and slowly over the next 3 to 6 months, I'll just keep adding things. I am going to do some limited runs of different colors that I'll only do once. So as they come in, I'll let you know and you can pick them up. Let's get back to the diff. All right, that's all of the mounting point cut out. It would have been way easier to get the other side out if I didn't have the diff in there, but I don't want to move it and mess with the alignment. Now I can come in tomorrow and cardboard template how I'm going to get these little bits mounted onto the chassis, and then first thing in the morning I can just swap the hats over and be done with it. Oh, the lighting in here is horrible. Still pretty bad. I'll explain it like this. We took the mounting point off of the chassis yesterday, and I think the next step is, so again, these bits are cut off of a E36 rear subframe. This is what the rear hat bolts to. I've just cut them off very, I cut them off with a reciprocating saw. Didn't really care what came with it or didn't. I need to probably clean up the bits either side, and then we can weld whatever we make back onto these. Once we've got these cleaned up, we can mock it up, cardboard aided design, get them sitting right, get the hat on, get it all bolted up, because these can just sit there, and then I can make a cardboard template around this and around the chassis. Ready to go. So we've got the threads, we've got a hole, but we can just swap over the hat on the diff, bolt these up. The plates that I cut off the chassis are 1.8 mil. The material that I cut off these things are, or were, like 2.2 mil. If I could get 2.5, I would prefer to go over than under. but at the same time, this was 1.8. So 2 mil might do it. I don't know. I'll have a think about it. And then I'll come back. And then we'll keep working. Okay, let me take you off the tripod and show you what it looks like from here. Looks pretty good from here. I do like how it's a little bit more symmetrical, and then it will be stronger. We just need to get a plate from where we cut off up here down to this on both sides, and it should be super simple. I'm gonna get some cardboard out, cut out a design, see what it looks like, and then go from there. Here's the first template I came up with, and the hole was in slightly the wrong position. And I find sometimes when templating that it is better to just draw something, work out what's wrong with it, and then improve on it. This is the second template. So when you put it up, you need to make clearance for the actual hat on the back. And then it's just a matter of putting radiuses where you think radiuses need to go to make it look a little bit better. Now, I wanted it to be joined front to back. So now I have this template. I'm going to take it off just so you can kind of understand it. But this is the flat version of what kind of will be the final template. So I'm going to have to work out how to get the folds in both of the sides and then fold it to hug basically the chassis. The next step is to transfer this flat pattern onto steel. Probably hard to see. You can see a little bit. I've got it all marked out. I'm going to cut this out as best I can. I need a 26 mil hole saw just to make it all real neat. Before I show you what's the final result with the diff, sadly I can't weld it in until I hear back from my engineer. I've sent him the email. Hopefully he replies sometime next week. Bzzz, done. And then we can go on with the axles. I thought I'd give an update on the fuel tank. So mine is no good. Dud. NFG, if you will. Luckily, there was a very kind person, subscriber, who had or has multiple E30s. They pulled a tank out of one of the cars that's upside down in their yard, and it was a little bit better than mine, but not great. What it did have was a fuel hanger and sender unit. So now I've got a sender unit for the tank that I'm going to need. I'll put a new pump on this, clean it up, schmick. He also had another E30 that he's going to turn into a drift car, and he's going to use a fuel cell. So for that one, luckily, the tank is really clean on the inside. So it's the same kind of thing, South African import. It had the weird sender leveler, so I wasn't able to get a different sender or another, hopefully better condition sender, because there wasn't. I'm going to give this one a clean up. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside after I've tidied up the outside, and then in maybe next episode, maybe the episode after, we'll put this tank in. I need to track down, the connectors. So if you have a wreck, something that you're parting out, and could cut off the two connectors that go to the sender unit and the fuel pump, let me know. It's good. Boy, is it good. I'll put a picture of the old one up on the inside and a picture of this new one up on the inside so you can see how much better it is. This is super clean on the inside. I'm still probably going to give it a sand and recoat it just so it's got as much protection as it can. And I might even stone guard underneath, but that's all in the next video. I just thought I'd give you an update on what the tank was doing. I thought about getting a new one, and then this one popped up. Sick. Back over to the diff, and I'll show you where I got up to. Both ears with a mount, and they are looking strong. Again, I'm not going to weld these on just in case my engineer says, yeah, tweak it a little bit. But they're looking good, and I'll be able to weld them in the next episode, hopefully. Last thing we're going to do in this episode is new grills. These are genuine, and headlights. They are not genuine. They are depot. It is really hard to find smoked Hella smileys in a right-hand drive. I know anyone who watches M539, Stretton, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the headlights I wanted. I'll continue the search, and if something comes up, I can swap these out, but in the meantime, this is what we're going to use. I also have the original kidney grills. These came off the car. I looked at part numbers and there's heaps of different variations, like manual, auto, with air conditioning, without air conditioning, and I just haven't spent the time to look into what's different for the part numbers. So I'm going to chuck these on. I also don't know if I want the chrome. I kind of figured we'll put them on and I'll make the call. Have I done this right? I can't even remember. Something ain't right, and I don't know what it is. I had it all wrong. Well, I didn't have it all wrong. This was pushed out too far, and this was pushed in too much. Oh, that's pretty sick. And there's got to be a strip under here that I'm missing. But I don't remember where I put that. How do I get that to stay out? Is that even right? Yeah, that's right. Ta-da! E30. And I think that does it for this episode. There is a lot to building a car, and there's so many parts. Like, you think you have some bits, but you need way more. So it took a little bit longer to get this episode out, mainly because I didn't know what I need. I've got a lot of bits coming in, so I should be able to bust out a couple of episodes back to back. Again, the merch store is going up. I will have flags on there, just like this, that'll be up. In some really cool news, but it's all kind of dependent on what you guys do, and gals, that like 0.6% that are females who are watching. If I can sell 500 t-shirts in pre-orders in the first 2 weeks, I'm going to quit my job and then do this full time, which means I can do this way more consistently and just get the car finished sooner and then start on the next project. So if you can do me a favor, if you've been watching for a little while and you've been thinking, boy, I'd like one of those t-shirts, head over to the website. Check out what I've got, and maybe cop yourself a t-shirt. I want to say a big thanks to Jed for the fuel tank and the sender unit. That saved me a huge amount of money, which I couldn't really afford to spend right now, which is really good. I don't have to buy a brand new fuel tank and a brand new sending unit. Thanks to all of my Patreons, of course. You guys are amazing. We're up to that stage where I've wanted to avoid doing this, but I think I'm going to have to start. If you've watched multiple episodes, think about subscribing. It would be a huge help to building the whole channel and helping the car get finished. If this is your first episode, maybe also think about subscribing. That'd be sick. Anyone who's watching for a like, it's one of those things that gets said so consistently it just means nothing to most people. But to the content creator, myself, if I got twice as many likes, there's a pretty good chance this video could get pushed out to more people And then it just, the wheels, the gears, they start turning. The algorithm starts showing me off a little bit more. So again, I hate to say it, but I mean, if you could hit the like button, that would also mean a lot. I don't want to say what I'm going to do in the next episode because I don't particularly know, but thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.